Welcome back, everybody. So we've survived our first hybrid learning week. Many of you made it to the classrooms and were on the A cohort and the B cohort in special lunch periods and assigned seating and hallways going one way and then they change it midweek. You're adapting. Nice work and congratulations. So that's our first shout out for today. And before we get started with our shout outs, this upcoming week, I think we should wrap up all of this similarity stuff so we get back into the math, okay? But first, we want to hear about all those people that did extra work last week. So our shout outs this week go to Mathia Achievers, Isabel Bennett, Kaylee Bonnet, Alexis Brandt, Courtney Brown, Kaiten Blankenagel, Claire Darlin, Maddie Hamilton, Nathan Hansen, Colin McBride, Quinn Moses, Reliance Morgan, Noah Murphy, Jackson Knoll, and Xavier Murphy. All right. And now, mistake, wasn't it? Xavier Thorne. Sorry, Xavier. All right. And in period 5, Kristen Barnett, Spencer Deerdorf, Maya Eckel, Carter Harris, Kylie Heiner, Hannah Lee, Arthur Lucan, Matt McConnell, Ashley Ohl, Sarah Altman, Serenity Sebasta, Darius Waldo, and Teddy Weston. Those are our shout outs for the Mathy Achievers from last week. And now I think we need to do a special shout out to none other than Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller has saved the day by coming into the classroom. Those of you that were in the room last week, we're seeing Mr. Miller with a 3. We're hearing his stories, and he can talk math. So, special shout out to him, and we appreciate everything that he's doing by getting into the classroom with you, and hopefully you're enjoying it. We do appreciate how everybody filled out how many people they learned, their names, and all those solo activity kind of fill in the blanks from last week. All right? Okay, so now let's talk a little math. Let's wrap this up. And we've got a series, I think it's 6 story problems, okay? Word problems. And I thought I would just do the one right out of the textbook. Remember the textbook? If you don't have your textbook yet, make sure you find time to get down to the book room to check it out, okay? Now, we're not sure how we're going to handle the book, whether we can leave it in the classroom and just tear pages out, but as we go through the next 10 weeks of school, there's times where you don't have to draw these out. They're right in the book. So those of you that have your book, M3, T1, we're in lesson 5, and this is on page 86. It's a river problem, okay? And we've got Caleb on this side of the river, Lauren on this side of the river. They're straight across from each other. Imagine Lauren walking 12 feet this way, Caleb walking 50 feet that way. Now we've created a diagonal. Can you locate the triangles, okay? And then, using our idea of similarities, can you solve for how far apart Caleb and Lauren are? And once you do that, they told you that Lauren is 5 feet from the bank, Caleb is 5 feet from the bank. You could actually take this x and subtract that 5 and know how wide the river is. See the river? All right, so let's just do the math, okay? Mr. Miller is going to get you guys doing the math. All right, so the biggest part is the corresponding parts. Whenever you have these word problems, redraw it and locate the corresponding parts, okay? All right, so we've got the vertical angle thing going on here, right? Vertical angles, okay? So that angle is equal to that angle. Okay, now when I flip this around, flip it around, I'm seeing the 50 to the 12 as 50 goes to the 12 as the x goes to the 5. If you have to, pause the video, check out page 86 and see if you get the same thing, all right? So now, do a little cross multiply there. And I think I'll work up here. 50 times 5 is equal to 12 times x. 50 times 5, 50 times 5, 250 is equal to 12x. And just like we did in the virtual world, chant to Mr. Miller. Tell him, what's the opposite of multiply? Divide, all right? So then, grab our calculator, and let's see what we get. We're going to have 250 divided by 12, 20.83, okay? So, our x is 20.83 feet. Remember, this time of year, we got to make sure we have our units feet. Okay? And then you could do all sorts of things from there. We could finish filling this out, subtract 5, see how wide the river is. Okay? So this week is all about, I think there's 6 story problems. You got your solo at-home learning activity, where you're going to do like 3 of these. You've got your Mathia activity. And then remember, every couple of weeks we got to do a quiz. We're probably going to have a quiz this week, a couple multiple choice, a couple of survey questions, and then we'll put this to bed and start something all new the following week. All right? So, without further ado, shout outs to Mr. Miller. Shout outs to all the changes at the school and the maps. And shout out to you overcoming all this adversity. See you in the classroom. And don't forget, you could always visit me during access time.